Hello and welcome to Camp Xbox, where we talk about all things Xbox from the original to the Series X. And today we are taking a look at Assassin's Creed. This is the start of the franchise of the same name from November 13th, 2007. It was developed by Ubisoft Montreal and published by Ubisoft. And it was released on PS3, PC, and of course the Xbox 360. This first entry is a pivotal start point for the franchise and gaming as a whole. Elements from this game would be seen in many games after this, and Assassin's Creed is one of the most popular franchises in all of gaming, even to the point where it is still easily playable and backwards compatible on the Series X, which is where all the footage I recorded is from. As a note, I did beat this game in 25 hours and got every achievement in it to fully deep dive and explore this game and tell you my thoughts and opinions on it. I honestly, at the time, was not very hyped for this experience in 2007, but I feel like I was one of the few gamers that wasn't. See, this game was a popular topic at my school. Kids wanted to sneak and be just like Altaïr, the game's protagonist. I remember being a kid in middle school and everybody telling me about how cool the hidden blade was from Assassin's Creed. This is where I first got interested in this game. Yet, I didn't get into this franchise until the second game. I love that game, and I went back to the original to check it out a few years later. And let's just say, I wasn't a big fan of the first one. Yet, now I feel like I have more of an open mind and wanted to re-experience this now. And getting into the history of the development of this game, Ubisoft at the time had a huge franchise with the recently reinvented Prince of Persia franchise. Sands of Time was an innovative title for the previous gaming generation, and Ubisoft wanted to take a lot of the tight platforming that game offered and drop it into a desert open world. The original idea was to play a nameless character who was an assassin who moved through this open world. Its original title was Prince of Persia Assassins, yet Ubisoft did not want to deviate from playing a prince. So the idea was to reinvent this into a brand new IP named Assassin's Creed. And Assassin's Creed is more than just a simple, free-form, open-world assassination game. Unlike what some of the early trailers would show you, it is a heavy sci-fi story. Not only does it let you play as Altaïr, an assassin tasked on taking down corrupt people, you play as Desmond Miles as well, and all of his scenes are set in the modern day. You use the Animus, a device that allows you to go back into your ancestors' memories. Desmond looks back on his ancestor Altaïr and uncovers the dark hidden secrets of his past, all while being under the watch of a dubious corporation named Abstergo, who has taken him hostage. I know that sounds like a lot, and if you've never played these games before, it is a lot of story, but that's what I like about it. It's kind of daring to throw in so much sci-fi jargon and plot into a game that could be really simple. Not only that, but when you dive into the assassinations themselves, the answers and feelings and opinions aren't really black and white. Right and wrong are questioned. When you kill, you talk to your victims and they tell you what they did and how it was right in their eyes, and you really question about the morality of the whole situation. It's not insanely deep. But for 2007, we were making leaps and bounds in game storytelling, and with this and games like GTA 4 and BioShock, this one is no exception to that rule. It has depth and interesting characters. Cutscenes are full of dialogue, and I found it very interesting to listen to. Writer Corey May put a lot of love into this plot, and actually you uncover a very fresh start to a fresh franchise with a lot of intrigue. I will say the ending does leave a lot to be desired. There is a ton of unanswered questions, and it heavily hinges on it getting a sequel, which of course now we know this plot is continued, and it's being continued for a very long time, but in 2007, after finishing this up, I'm sure it was a bummer to not get the full plotline and not know the future of the franchise. For what it is now, though, I think the start of this franchise story-wise started off on the right foot, effectively mixing elements of sci-fi and historical fiction to blend a creative and fun world to jump into. And speaking of jumping, let's hop into the gameplay here, which has innovative elements, especially for its time. And let's go back to 2007 and get into the mind state of one extremely popular thing that was on the internet, and that's parkour. It was extremely popular at the time, and just in case you don't know what it is free running, stunt-based activities, and it was really surging at the time. Assassin's Creed takes that and implements it heavily into Altair's movements. You can move freely in these open areas, and once you start running, you can move through buildings, you can scale up buildings, climb all over roofs. It gives you the freedom to not only traverse the streets, but to go anywhere in this 3D space you want. It even encourages that with hidden flags hidden all around, and you can travel and dig to find them out. You even are tasked with reaching the highest points in the cities to observe surroundings and fill out your map. An element we have seen many times after this game did it. Climbing feels great, and I would even say feels good still to this day. Of course, modern Assassin's Creeds will feel smoother, but this one still feels solid, with only minor hiccups of jumping when you might not want to. It's only slightly frustrating though, and I think it works way more than when it doesn't. So movement feels good, but for me the biggest issue with gameplay itself is repetition. What feels good and gameplay elements that work get bogged down into the same experience being done over and over again. For one, the combat feels smooth and well done, but it gets so uninteresting after a few hours. It's basic swordplay, and you can counter enemy moves as they come at you very slowly, and the thing is, countering is just an easy way to pick off enemies, so you'll just find yourself doing it over and over again. Do this for 15 plus hours and it starts to feel tedious and unenjoyable. Assassinations fit the same tedious mold as well, requiring you to take the same steps to reach your goal and getting enough information to kill your target. These consist of either listening to conversations, pickpocketing people, which takes under a minute to do, collecting flags, getting in fistfights, and sometimes small assassinations. Those are at least fun, but it's the other stuff that you must do over and over again that gets really killer. There's an obvious gameplay loop here, and the loop isn't the most engaging thing after many missions of doing this over and over again, which is sad because I really like the assassinations themselves. Once you get all that information, you can sneak up and really get into the conversations going on and find the right moment to strike. It's cool, and I would have liked to see actual development with these sections and maybe more mission variety over repeating the same side missions over and over. At least exploring environments feels really good, and overall the game graphically looks nice for its time. It's a lot of grays, but it fits into the old desert look of the game. The variety in building elevation is well done, and lots of hidden alleys and balconies to dive into is a nice, detailed way to build your world. Glitches do occur here and there though. I clipped through a few walls a few times, but they were few and far between and weren't really a nuisance. I did find the music by Jesper Kyd to be remarkable. It clashes a line between ambient electronic and music authentic to the past, and maybe all together feeling cinematic. The chase music is especially strong, building a great atmosphere and tension while you run away from guards. The sound effects are good as well. I actually enjoy that a lot of the tones and sounds sound like something crunched through a computer. The artificial feel adds to the feeling of someone reliving the past through a machine. The only time the audio is weak is maybe some of the NPCs in the background. If you play with headphones on, you can tell that the audio of the background characters were recorded pretty cheaply. They're very tinny and it comes off a bit hollow, and that was a bit weak. But I'm sure without headphones on, it's less noticeable. So for now, I want to get into the achievement hunt for this game. As I said earlier, I did get every achievement in this, and honestly, it was a very easy experience. You have to just watch out for a few missable moments. You have to talk to a character who's played by Kristen Bell, which is really weird, after every level, and you have to click every time a cutscene glitches to see it from another perspective. Other than that, it's all about just collecting flags and doing all the missions in the game with some extra fighting achievements in here. If you're looking for an easy 1000 gamer score and a pretty fun game, this one takes around 20 hours to do, and I would say that it was a fun trip. I will say though that the game itself is not replayable after you beat it. Once you finish the story, I felt like there was no reason to go back. It does allow you to go back through missions, but I didn't really see the point. It is an open-ended world to explore with a lot of side things to do in it, but it's just the type of game that is a solid one-time experience, and you kind of finish it and want to move on from there. I do think my overall experience with Assassin's Creed was an enjoyable one though. I found the story to be a highly engaging genre mash with fun movement. It is really repetitive, and I think that kills some of the momentum and may make it a little hard to replay, but the experience is worth trying, and I think you'll have a fun time just exploring this world and getting into that story. I'm excited to move on from here to the next ones in the franchise and see how the Assassin's Creed series evolves from here. And on my Xbox 360 ranking list, Assassin's Creed comes in at number 8. It goes under Call of Juarez Bound in Blood because I had more feelings of going back and wanting to complete those achievements for Bound in Blood after playing it, more than I had any reason to replay Assassin's Creed. But that wraps it up for today. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Also comment below with any memories with this game. You can even tell me about some memories with some of the future games in the franchise. I would love to hear from you. But that wraps it up, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you here next time at Camp Xbox.